Hello and welcome to the Play Property channel. And today we're going to be looking at the Smash Up expansion World Tour Culture Shock. And I've already kind of pre-opened this already to take a quick look at it because I just couldn't wait. Because this is kind of the most exciting expansion for me in a while. So let me punch this stuff up, but we can take a quick look at that. So there's the 5 and the 1 icons we got there. And we'll take a quick look at what we got here. So you got the Polynesian Voyagers. You got the Russian fairy tales. Ancient Incas. And the Grimm's fairy tales. And the Ansani tales. Hopefully I'm spelling this or pronouncing this stuff right, but if not, just forgive me. I am horrible at English, so it's not my strongest skill. And yeah, so we'll take a quick pause here, and we'll come back and we'll look at each individual one here separately. All right, we're going to start here by looking at the Polynesian Voyagers. So I kind of got to spread it out here. One thing to note, though, this is the first faction that's actually got 3 bases. So you got Island Chain. After this base scores, replace it with 2 bases instead of 1. So that's pretty cool. You got Island Peak. At the start of your turn, if you have exactly 1 minion here, place a +1 power counter on it. You got Tropical Paradise. If each player has 1 or more minions on this base, its starting breakpoint is 0. So that's kind of an interesting one right there. Because that's one that the breakpoint can be easily broken with even smaller creatures, right? And if you can move people around, that'd be one that you can kind of manipulate and pop it yourself. Island Chain is really interesting because you get to replace it with 2, so you get to expand how many bases are out there. Island Peak, if you keep 1 there, it just keeps kind of building up. So it's kind of interesting bases. But it's definitely cool that there's 3 there. Now let's look at the minions here. So we got, I think it goes a little bit off screen here, but there's 4 of the 3s. 3 3s, 2 4s, and 1 5. So usually you have 4 2s, so we're starting off with a little bit more power with this faction. And we got Moem. Ongoing, other players cannot move their minions to this base or move this minion to another base. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. That actually would be a good one to put on their Island Peak, I think, because they can't move you off of it. What do we got here? Tiki. 3. Ongoing, if this minion has an action on it, it has +2 power. Oh, that's pretty cool. That means that any action too. So even if your opponent puts an action on it, it gets power +2 too. So that's pretty cool. Wayfinder. Talent. Move this minion to a base where you have no minions to place a +1 power counter on it. So that's a pretty cool one. That one can build up over time. So that's kind of a benefit of having like a lot of bases out. You just keep moving her every single turn and she gets 1 power up. And of course, let's look at the boss. Maui, I think so. Probably some part of his letter there is kind of cut out. I'm not sure that's an exclamation point or an I. But play up to 2 bases from the top of the base deck. Oh, that actually adds a bunch of more bases on the thing. That's actually pretty cool. With Violent Chain, I can see why you got the extra one. Talent, move one of your minions to a base where you have no minions. Oh, that works well with Wayfinder. You can really... Can Wayfinder... Oh, no, Wayfinder is only with the talent. Okay. I was just thinking it'd be a pretty cool combo to use Wayfinder's talent and then use Maui for the other. But that's only when you use this talent, so... But there is... Oh, that makes me think of... a good pairing with this might be the werewolves. Because werewolves, you can use some of the talents more than once. That would be a pretty cool faction, I think, to use with this. You can just come to think of it, so I'll keep that in mind. Now let's look at some of the action cards here. We got Ocean Tattoo. Play one of your minions at a base with no other player's minions. Talent. Move this minion to another base to place a +1 power counter on it. So you got to play this on one of your minions at a base with no other player's minions. So it's got to be solo. But you talent move this minion to their base to place +1 power counter. Well, that's pretty cool. Again, like makes me think of playing this with werewolves. And Ocean Tattoo would work good, of course, on Wayfinder too, because then you can move her twice with 2 different talents. And she can be like, just in the first turn alone, 6. That's pretty cool. And then you can sail her over to Tropical Paradise and, maybe take that over. Sun Tattoo. Play on one of your minions. Ongoing, this minion is +2 power. Special. After her base scores, you may play this card on one of your minions there with no actions on it to move it to another base instead of the discard pile. So this is kind of wordy. This is kind of a wordy one. So basically, right off the bat, you get 2+ power. But special, after a base scores, you may play this card on one of your minions there with no actions on it to move it to another base in the discard pile. But it's going to have no actions on it, which kind of... I can see. Maybe a way to kind of save your Wayfinder is kind of built up, or your boss. Might be a good way to play Sun Tattoo as a special. Can't really play it in Tiki because I believe you probably have an action already on them, so you're not going to be able to do that. Because the special is only after a base scores, you may play this card on one of your minions. So this is kind of an interesting card when you kind of look at the wording of it now. This is why I was kind of wondering about this card, because it's pretty wordy. So if you kind of play it without playing the special, you're basically giving yourself 2 power. But you can't use the special to give yourself 2 power because it's after a base scores. So it's kind of like one or the other. So you either want to give yourself +2 power, which if played in Tiki would give you +4. Or you play this to basically save one of your minions from going to the discard pile. I'm more likely probably going to save this card for the special. Most likely when I'm playing. Unless I want to give this to Tiki and kind of pop a base real quick. That might be the only other reason to just use the power +2. But it's kind of interesting kind of the wording on that, right? Because after a base scores, so the power won't matter on it. But I guess the power will be on there after you move it. Oh, actually, that might be... Yeah, okay, I was just thinking about my pirates, but my pirates are already being saved anyways, my first mate. My pirates are my favorite deck, of course, if you've been following my channel. Anyways, let's look at the next card. Shark Tattoo. Play one of your minions, place a +1 power counter on it. I'm going to start of your turn. If this is your only minion here, place a +1 power counter on this minion. So I'm already seeing a theme with this deck. This is going to be one of those decks where you kind of more beneficial to be spread out, not kind of doing the dog pile kind of method. Where most decks are kind of like dog pile onto a base and pop it as quickly as possible and win that base. This one's going to be more kind of a spread out, build up power slowly as you're moving around. Which is going to make this deck a little bit harder to win with, I figure, in the long run. Kind of reminds me of kind of Bear Cavalry. I mean, there's certain kind of decks that kind of benefit you if you kind of spread out more. Zombies is kind of same thing, kind of when you got the Zombie Lord out, you're kind of spreading everybody out to all the bases that you don't have minions. You put minions on all the bases and stuff. So there are certain decks that are kind of built that way. Volcanic Uprising. Play the top card of the base deck, and you may move one of your minions to it, or destroy a base with no player's minions on it, or replace it with 2 bases. Wow. This deck is full of putting out extra bases. This is going to be really interesting to see how multiplayer goes with this, especially if you got 4 players and you got, starting off with 5 bases out there, and then you get all these extra bases out there. I mean, like, multiplayer is pretty hard as it is to kind of get on the base sometimes before it pops, before it's your turn. There's all those bases out there. Wow. Unity of the Tribes. Choose a base where you have a minion. Gain +2 power there for each base where you have at least one minion until the end of the turn. See, again, this is kind of rewarding you for being spread out. Gain +2 power there for each base where you have at least one minion until the end. You know what? I'm starting to think about putting pirates with this. Because pirates, my first mates is usually how I win with pirates. So usually I'm kind of bouncing from base to base and popping multiple bases. So with a power +2 for each base where you have at least one minion, that actually might work well with my pirates and kind of bouncing them from base to base. Oh, choose base where you have a minion. Again, +2 power there for each base where you have at least one minion. Yeah, I'll play that right on my first mate. Ooh, another combination of going with my pirates. I like that. Definitely gonna have to try that out. I like it because the power, because just that one minion gets +2 power for each base where you have at least one. That is actually really good. I like that. Tattoo Artist. Search your deck and or discard pile for an action that can be played on a minion and place it into your hand or play it as an extra action. There should be the big question is which card are you going to want to get up with that? I don't think we have a Volcanic Uprising. I think most likely you probably want to get Unity of the Tribes out multiple times. That would probably be what I would want to get with that. Because you either want to get it into your hand or get it out of the discard pile. I think Unity of the Tribes would be the card that you're going to want for that. Because that's Unity of the Tribes is basically your base popping card. Anyway, let's look at some of these other actions. So we got Growth of the Tribes. Choose a base where you have no minions. Play an extra minion there immediately, or move one of your minions to there. Okay. Because there's going to be lots of bases out here for you to get on. Knowledge of the Tribes. Draw a card for each base where you have a minion. Oh, that's pretty cool. So part of the things that'd be weaker about being spread out is, you have to play a lot of your minions out there, but this gives you a chance to kind of draw through your deck. Yeah. Yeah, so that's basically the Polynesian Voyagers, and I'm actually kind of looking at this. I really like this deck. I think this deck's going to be fun to play. Definitely Unity of Tribes is definitely the action that you're going to be wanting to get. Wayfinder. Tiki will allow you to help pop some bases. Wayfinder is going to help you pop bases. But I think it's basically these three cards here is what I'm kind of looking at with the Tattoo Artist to get this one out multiple times. I think it's going to be the key to this deck to winning. And of course, this is going to be a deck where being spread out is actually going to be helpful. So maybe teaming this with zombies might be one. Again, pirates. Oh, sorry for bumping there. Maybe something with movement too. Like maybe tornadoes might be nice. Some movement. Maybe even time travelers for a little bit of replayability too. Like I'm just thinking maybe getting Unity Tribes back in your hand a couple of times with that time traveling action. Card that lets you put it back in. Or was that Geeks? I can't remember now. Maybe it was Geeks. Maybe I'm thinking of too. Maybe Geeks would be another one to play with this. Bear Cavalry might be another one to try it, just because it's kind of like the same kind of thing where you want to be spread out. So yeah. So far I'm really liking this version, and we'll take a look at another faction here in one moment. All right, we're back with our next faction to look at, the Russian Fairy Tales. This one was kind of a little bit hard to kind of display here. For one thing, their minions are not typical. Usually you get 4 2s. In this case, you got 3 2s, but they got 2 different ones, and then we also got a Toad, which is 0. There's usually 3 3s, which we do have. We do have the Grey Wolf and 2 Foolish Magicians, but again, we got 2 different ones here. And then the 4s usually get 2, and we do have 2 there, and we do have the 5. So it's a little bit little bit different here. So we'll take a look at the toad first because that's the lowest powered one. 0. You may give control of this minion to another player to shuffle another one of their minions here to its owner's deck. So it basically turns somebody into a toad. So it's a good way to get rid of somebody's boss. And what do we got here? We got the birch. Ongoing at the start of your turn, you may destroy this minion to search your hand, deck, and or discard pile for the birch woman and add it to your hand or play it here as an extra minion. So that's interesting. So let's kind of skip past the 2s right now and let's look at the birch woman, which is a 4. The birch woman. Ongoing after this minion goes to the discard pile from play, you may search your hand, deck, and or discard pile for the birch and add it to your hand or play it as an extra minion. Yeah, kind of interesting. So basically, so at the start of your turn, you may destroy this minion, search your hand, deck, or discard pile for the birch one. And after this minion goes to the discard pile for play. Yeah, so basically, you're going to keep getting the birch woman out. So it's just basically kind of cycling between the birch and the birch woman. That's actually kind of really interesting. Okay, so yeah, technically the birch won't be out because that just goes in your hand from her. Oh no, this isn't going to be played as extra. I mean, sorry, I'm kind of like just learning these cards here at the same time here. Yeah, that's kind of really interesting. So basically, you just want to get one of these 2 up, and then you got these 2 permanently, basically, and you're out playing. Let's look at the Desire Eagle. Draw a card, or place a minion from another player's discard pile on top of their deck. Interesting. Draw a card, or place a minion from another player's discard pile on top of their deck. I wonder why you would want to put another minion from another player's discard pile on top of their deck. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, to see what else this deck does. The Grey Wolf. Talent. Place this minion on top of its owner's deck to play an extra minion here. And place a +1 power counter on it. Yeah, so the Grey Wolf basically always goes back to the top of your deck, and then you can... Yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. So there's definitely kind of seeing a theme of a replay theme kind of going on here. Which is already getting me to think about the Time Travelers, too. Maybe play with Time Travelers with this deck. I'm already starting to think. Foolish Magician. Draw 3 cards, then place 3 cards from your hand on top and or bottom of your deck in any order. So that's a good way to kind of cycle through your deck. So that's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. That can kind of work with, I'm thinking like Spies, where you're kind of filling around for your deck, or the Grannies. The Grannies might work well with this deck too, so that might be another deck combination to think of. Sorry, just had a cough there for a second. What do we got here? Finish the Falcon. Minion special before base scores. You may move this minion to there, so it's kind of like that one pirate one. Or return this minion from there to your hand and play it on another base as an extra minion. So if you kind of don't need his power there, you can kind of save him. It's kind of interesting. So somebody's popping a base by themselves, you can just fly them in there. Or if you're on your base and you're not going to get that much power for it anyways, or you're winning by a lot, you can kind of save them and put them somewhere else. So that's good. Let's look at the boss. Baba Yaga. Talent. Place another minion here on the bottom of his owner's deck. Have them play a minion off the top of their deck here as an extra minion. Then shuffle their deck. So this again is making me think of penguins, of course. Especially when you're playing a minion off the top of your deck. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Definitely thinking Penguins with that one. With that ability there. Penguins have got a lot of abilities for when you top them off the deck. So that'll be another combination to look at with this deck. Okay, let's start looking at some of the... Oh, I forgot to even look at the bases. Should start it off with that, sorry. Giant Turnip, 5/3/3. His base break point is reduced by 1 for each minion on it. That's pretty cool. Transformation Spring, 4/2/1. Once during your turn, after you play a minion here, you may place it on the bottom of its owner's deck to play a minion off the top of your deck here as an extra minion. Again, this is going to go well with Penguins. Yeah, definitely kind of liking it. Oh, the Frog Princess. Play one of your minions. Talent, place this minion on the bottom of its owner's deck. To play a minion off the top of your deck here as extra minion and transfer this action to it, and then shuffle your deck. Again, it's another kind of like a repeat thing. Because technically, you can probably do this every single turn. Again, I'm thinking Time Travelers again with this deck. Bewitched. Playing a minion, ongoing this minion is +2 power. If this minion leaves play, transfer this action to another minion. Well, that's pretty cool. This is the permanent +2 power on the board for you. As long as you got a minion on the board, I guess. That's the one thing. Because you don't have another minion on the board, then you're kind of going to lose this. But definitely, it's pretty cool. Transformation. Place a minion on the bottom of its owner's deck to have them play a minion off the top of their deck there as an extra minion, then shuffle their deck. Okay, now I'm starting to see where that one card, whatever, the Cesar Eagle, with placing another player's discard pile on top of their deck will come into effect, right? Because you can kind of pick what it is. The Water of Life. Place a minion from your discard pile on top of your deck. Yeah, you may play an extra action. Again. You know what? Actually, this deck might not go well with Grannies, because I think the Grannies, you want your minions at the bottom of your deck, not the top, where this is looking at the top. So there might be a little bit of conflict there. It might be worth just trying it out once, just to see how the decks kind of work, but there might be kind of a conflict with Grannies here, but because looking at this picture is also making me thinking about the vampires too, but sometimes I think you kind of look at this and you kind of get hints on what to use. Anyways, let's continue looking at the cards. Fetch, I know not what. Reveal cards from your deck until you reveal 2 actions. You may place any number of those actions into your hand, shuffle the rest into your deck. Basically, fetch and action cards. I kind of like that. Now I'm starting to think wizards with this deck, especially with that one. Go, I know not whither. Choose a base, shuffle a random minion there controlled by each other player into its owner's deck, so not you. And it's a random one, so that kind of sucks that it's random. I mean, I'd rather have control over what goes in, but still. It'll create havoc. Go see my sister. Playing a base, I'm going after your player. Move one of your minions to here. You may draw a card. So, we may get some card draw. Mass transformation. Each player places their hand on the bottom of their deck and draws an equal number of cards. Wow. That would actually be pretty interesting to play in a multiplayer game. Everybody places their hand on the bottom of their deck, draws equal number of cards. I mean, that can mess people up or it might make their hands better. That's an interesting card. Interesting. So there we go. So we just looked at the Russian fairy tales. Kind of an interesting deck to play around with. I think this is going to be kind of fun, actually. And actually, I think all the factions in this expansion are going to be fun. But this is what you're looking at with this faction. And yeah, we'll look at another faction here in one moment. All right, so we're looking at another faction here. This one here is the Ancient Incas. So let's do things properly this time, and we'll look at the bases. So I don't really know how to pronounce this one right. Kazku 532. This base breakpoint is reduced by 3 for each action on it, which is probably going to be key with this base, because I'm pretty sure I read that this base is going to be full of actions that you're playing bases. Bachui. Bachui? I'm not even sure how to pronounce that at all. 421. After you play an action on this base, draw a card. Yeah. Sorry, my pronunciation and stuff is horrible. This is going to more of you looks like your standard deck. So you got your 4/2s. I think a little bit of it's cut off there. But you got your llamas, your 3s, your 4s, and your 5. So let's take a look at what we got here for the minions. So you got your llama. You may return one of your actions played in another base to your hand and play it here as an extra action. So it looks like you can move around your actions and bases. Inca Engineer. Reveal cards from the top of your deck to reveal an action that can be played on a base. Add it to your hand. Shuffle the rest into your deck. As you can see, action on base is going to be kind of key to this. So I'm already thinking about... what is it? The one with King Kong and all that. I can't think of it right now, but or Steampunks would be another one. I think I'll play with this base. Child of the Sun. Ongoing, after the first time you play an action on this base each turn, you may play an extra action. That's actually pretty cool. Sorry if I take a little bit longer sometimes look at this card. I was kind of thinking about, stuff I could play. And Sapa Inca, the boss. Search your deck and or discard pile for action that can be played on a base and added to your hand. Ongoing, after you play an action on a base, +1 power counter on one of your minions here. Truckers might be another interesting one to play this with. I mean, I haven't played with the truckers much. But they play, again, with a lot of actions on bases. Oh, I think it starts with a K. I'm just trying to remember that. Another one you probably know the one I'm talking about, the one that's got a lot of power on the bases. I just can't think of it right now, sorry. Signs on the Stars, playing a base, ongoing. Turn the top card of the base deck face up. Well, the top base card is face up. This base also has its abilities. Oh, that's kind of cool. At the start of each player's turn, they may turn the top base card down until the end of the turn. Talent, place the top card of the base deck on the bottom of the deck. So you can kind of manipulate the bases with this. This is pretty cool. So now I'm starting to think, was it Explorers? Because Explorers manipulate the base deck too, so... Oops, sorry about bumping that. Temple of the Sun. Playing a base, draw a card. Ongoing, after you play another action on this base, draw a card. So it gives you lots of card draw. Royal Highway. Playing a base, you may move one of your minions to or from here. Ongoing, after you play an action on another base, you may move one of your minions from here to there, or from there to here. Gives you a lot of bit of movement. You get 2 Fortress Walls. Playing a base, place a +1 power counter on one of your minions here. Ongoing, after you play another action on this base, you may place another +1 power counter on one of your minions here. So that's pretty cool. You get 2 of those. You get 2 Armories. Playing a base, ongoing, you have +2 power here for each of your other actions on this base. Again, makes me think of decks are heavy on play on bases. Golden Condor. Return any number of your actions and bases to your hand. You must play each of them as an extra action. Oh, good way to just relocate everything too. Actually, that's actually kind of just think about, like, what if you kind of redrew like Temple of the Sun? You play that down, you get to draw all those cards for each one afterwards. Like, there's a lot of ways you can kind of play this deck. It looks like I'm kind of liking it. Ashlar Masonry special. Play after a base scores. You return one of your actions on that base to your hand and shuffle the rest of them into your deck instead of the discard pile. So that's a good way to save a lot of your actions on a base. And we got Quipu strings, or whatever you call that. Choose an action in your discard pile that can be played on a base and play it as an extra action. Again, now I'm thinking steampunk for sure with this. Yeah. Alright, so this is the Ancient Incas. Again, this is another quality deck for this expansion. I'm really liking this expansion. This is quite awesome. Yeah, and I think we still got 2 more factions to go through. Yep. And then, yeah, we'll be back with another faction. And welcome back to another faction from this expansion. We're going to do the Grimm's Fairy Tales. This one was pretty hard to kind of lay out. I actually don't think I got room for everything, so I'm going to have to put this off to the side, title card. Because, again, we got a really unique faction here that's not normal. And let me just move the camera over here a little bit, see if I can get most of this in here for you guys. So first thing to notice is we got, of course, the standard 4 2s, but they're all different named. We got the 3 3s like normal, all different. 2 4s, all different. And instead of a 5, we got a 6 for the boss. So we got a little bit more power there. And yeah, so before we get into some of the unique stuff, let's look at the bases. So you got Gingerbread House, 4-2-1. Before this base scores, each player may choose 2 of their minions here with the same power to gain +2 power until the end of the turn. And then you got Woodland Cottage, 3-1-1. Once per turn after you play a minion here, search your deck for a minion of power 3 or less and place it into your hand. Alright, so let's look at some of these 2s. So we got Hansel. Ongoing, this minion has +2 power if Gretel is here. So a lot of these things are going to be kind of teamed up, which kind of goes with Gingerbread House, of course, too. And then we got Gretel. Ongoing, this minion has +2 power if Hansel is here. So those would be like power 4, and then you had them with Gingerbread House. And give them each +2. So yeah, you can kind of build up power pretty quick. Rose Red, ongoing, this minion has +2 power if other Snow White is here. And of course we got the other Snow White. Ongoing, this minion has +2 power if Rose Red is here. So again, a lot of kind of pairing in here. Let's look at the 3s. So we got the Frog Prince. Ongoing, after you play another minion here, you may shuffle this minion into your deck to play a minion from your discard pile here as an extra minion. So the Frog Prince can become another minion from your discard pile. Rumpelstiltskin, search your deck for a card and place it on top of your deck. Searching is always good. Then we got Red Riding Hood. Ongoing, against this minion, if the minion Big Bad Wolf is not in play, each of your minions here is +1 power. That's kind of interesting. So you gotta not have your boss there. So let's take a look at the boss. We'll jump ahead here a little bit. We'll go to Big Bad Wolf here. If the minion Red Riding Hood isn't in play, you may destroy a minion here, power 4 or less. Ongoing, after this minion is destroyed, play another minion from your discard pile here as an extra minion. So that's kind of good. Gives you a chance to get another minion back. But it's kind of interesting how it's kind of playing off of the Red Riding Hood. That's kind of awesome. I like that. Then you got Charming Princess talent. If Prince Charming is here, play an extra minion here. So obviously that's going to work with Prince Charming. Talent, if Charming Princess is here, play an extra action. That's actually pretty cool. You pair those up, you get an extra minion and extra action play each turn. That is actually really good. I actually really like that. Alright, let's look at some of the actions here. We got here mouse, bird, and sausage. Choose up to 2 minions of the same faction at a base to gain +2 power to each until the end of the turn. We got breadcrumbs. Move up to 2 of your minions from one base to another. And kind of keep your pairs together. But if somebody else mixes them up, that's... Well, this is up to 2, so you don't have to move 2. So do keep that in mind. It's up to 2. So somehow your opponent does split people up, you can get them back together again. Basket of goodies. Search your deck for an action and place it on top of your deck. The Woodsman's Axe. Destroy an action played on a base to play an extra action. Or destroy the minion Big Bad Wolf to search your deck for a minion and play it on the same base as an extra minion. Kind of interesting. Well, I guess if you destroy the Big Bad Wolf, you can search your deck for a minion, and you get to, not just minion to destroy, play another minion from your discard pile. So you do get a little bit of a, I guess some flexibility if you put your Big Bad Wolf in a bad spot or your opponent moves him somewhere. You kind of play that card. At least get something done. Fairy Godmother's Blessing. Search your deck for a minion and place it on top of your deck. Anything to help kind of get your pairs up, I guess. Another story, shuffle up to 3 cards from your discard pile into your deck. Grimm's Blessing, you get 2 of these ones. And basically play on a base, ongoing. If you have 2 or more minions here, treat this card as if it also has the names of every minion you own. Using this ability does not count as using any minion's ability. So again, this gives you another way to get your pairings up. And then you got Teamwork. Choose a minion in play. Search your hand, deck, and your discard pile. If a minion's name appears in an ability on the chosen minion, place it in your hand or play it as an extra minion. Again, a way to get your pairs up, which is great. So you got, basically, that's 4 action cards right there that helps you get your pairings. That is actually really nice. So what do I think about this deck? Like, who would I pair this with, though? That's kind of the one question. What other deck kind of helps with pairings? Just trying to think of anyone that kind of comes to mind. Got it drawing a blank right now, actually. I don't see a reason to play this with Pirates, my favorite deck. Yeah, or maybe ones that kind of help with people. Like Mythic Horses maybe might be one I might try this deck with. Because you kind of got a lot of the teamwork type of thing on there, right? Is what I'm kind of thinking. So maybe Mythic Horses might be the first one I try with this deck. Okay, I'm drawing blank here for anything else, but if you guys got any suggestions, you guys can always put it in the comments below, and yeah, we'll go on to the last faction to go through. Alright, we're finally on to the last faction here. I'm just trying to adjust the camera here a little bit, see if I can... I know I kind of sorted these guys all out differently, but they're mostly about the same here. So here we're looking at Anna's Tales here. I'm not sure if I'm spelling this, again, pronouncing this stuff right, but we'll continue anyways. Anna's Web. If you have a minion here, after the first time each turn you play a standard action, you may place it into another player's hand instead of the discard pile to draw 2 cards. That's kind of interesting. So you have a minion here. You play a standard action. You may place this. You may give another player. So if you got an action that it's kind of not a benefit to the other player, it might actually be worthwhile to do that. I don't think I really want to give opponents anything good though. Storyteller is hot. On your turn, you may play an extra action to place a counter on this card. This base breakpoint is reduced by 2 for each of those counters. So that's for everybody. That's kind of interesting. On your turn, you may play an extra action to place a counter on this card. This base breakpoint is reduced by 2 for each of those counters. So the first thing that's coming to my mind, of course, is already Wizards, because Wizards got the actions. Maybe Princesses, too. Princesses got more extra actions. It doesn't like say standard or base action, so you can almost play it with any kind of a deck there too. So we got the standard 4 2s, 3 3s. Got 2 different 4s though, which is a little bit different. And you still got the 5 kind of boss. So let's kind of take a look at the 2 here first. Maboro Hornet. If I'm pronouncing it right. Special, after another player plays or discards a card they don't own from a hand or deck, you may play this minion as an extra minion. So that might be a reason to put the cards into other people's deck. It's just to be able to play this. Okay, I can kind of see a little bit. This deck's going to be a little bit interesting to play, actually. It might take a little bit while to master this one. Aki the Turtle, if I'm pronouncing it right, you may place a card from your hand into another player's hand to draw 2 cards. Okay, let's go with this one next. Asibo the Leopard. Ongoing, after you place a card into another player's hand, place a +1 power counter on this minion. So this deck looks like you'd be placing a lot of cards into the other person's hand. So it might work with, what's the other deck? Is it Elves? I think it is. And you're putting cards in other people's hands all the time. Might try this deck out with that. Oni the Python. I'm probably not pronouncing these things right at all, but ongoing, after another player plays or discards a card they don't own from a hand or deck, place a +1 power counter on his minion. So basically the same thing. So one is kind of placing a card, and the other one is after the other player plays it. Honestly, the Spider talent, search your deck for a standard action, play it as an extra action, then place it into another player's hand instead of where it would normally go. You cannot play any copy of that action again this turn. Interesting. Yeah, this deck is going to be interesting to play. It's going to be a little bit tricky to play. It's going to be kind of like the Ignobles for me. Of course, once you get used to the Ignobles, you know how it works, and you kind of wait until you get certain cards, and that's the only thing about it. I got a feeling that this might be one of those decks where you might have to wait for these cards. Like, you might want... Hopefully there's a way to search and get some of these guys out. If not, you might have to play it with a deck that you can do some searching and get some of these minions out you want to maybe play this deck right. But I think you're going to have to pick when you do stuff like this. I think another deck like that is kind of like the Ghosts. Where the way I play, that sometimes you want to go down to like no cards, and sometimes you want to play with cards in your hand. So with Ghosts, I find I do really well with them when I kind of pick and choose. When I go to 0, when I don't. Because I find you don't have to be at 0 the whole game, right? So at least with Ghosts. Let's start looking at some of the actions. So let's see what we got here. Pot of Wisdom. Draw a card for each other player, then place a card from your hand into each other player's hands. Play an extra action. Draw a card for each other player and place a card from your hand into each other player's hand. Actually, that would pump up the Leopard pretty fast. Like I said, like you're going to need to get certain cards with This deck's going to be a little bit finicky, I think. The perfect gift. Search your deck for a standard action and play it as an extra action, then place it into another player's hand instead of where it would normally go. I'm looking for something to search for a minion, though, is what I'm looking for. Ear of Corn. Shuffle up to 3 actions from your discard pile, enter your deck, and play an extra action. Place this card into another player's hand. Like, you only got 1 leopard. I don't know. That's... You got 1 python. Oh. Like, these 4s are going to be, like, really important in this deck, I can tell already. Let it be full and eat. Draw 2 cards. Place this card into another player's hand. Feather Gifts. Move one of your minions to another base. Place this card into another player's hand. Pot of Beans. You get 2 of these. Place 2+1 power counter totals on minions. Place this card into another player's hands. Again, Elves is kind of popping up in the bottom of this. And I'm just thinking that Elves might be a good one. Trading Stories. You may place up to 3 cards from your hand into another player's hands. For each one placed, draw a card. And then you got 2 Collecting Stories. Look at another player's hand. You may play a card you own from their hand as an extra card. That's got you kind of cool. But, yeah, I'm thinking this one's probably my least favorite, I think, out of this expansion right now, just looking at it. Just because I think this deck's going to be a little bit finicky to play to get it to work right. But if you got these 2 cards, like, these guys are going to get, like, super powerful. Like, super powerful. So your key is going to be these 2 cards, and you're going to have to win bases with these 2 cards. And you're going to have to probably do it quick before your opponent weakens these guys up. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking with this deck anyways. Again, Elves seems to come to mind as a deck to play with this. I think any other deck that helps you search for minions too, I think will be helpful. Or cycle through, like maybe Innsmouth, because you can cycle through pretty fast. Or Wizards again, because I think you can search for minions, I think, with Wizards, if I remember right. Or I know, what do you call it? The Mimics from the Shapeshifters. Shapeshifters will be another one to try with this one, because you will be able to go out, get in your deck, and get these 4s out. I'm pretty sure the Shapeshifters would work with this deck too. But anyways, that's my thoughts on this, and we're done at this expansion, and I look forward to playing some games online with these factions, and we'll see how we do. Okay, remember to play properly.